At the end of the First World War, Germany were forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles to keep the peace. This meant that Germany were forced to give up land and that they were no longer allowed armed forces. However, in 1933, Germany elected Adolf Hitler as the Prime Minister and leader of the Nazi Party. He promised the German people that he was going to make Germany great again. As a result of this, he started developing his own army and seizing land from other countries by finding ways around the treaty. Just before 5 a.m. on the 1st of September 1939, Hitler ordered troops to invade Poland. Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of Britain at the time, realised that Hitler was defying the treaty and 2 days later declared that Britain was at war with Germany. The war waged for 6 years and eventually involved 61 countries who either fought on the side of the Axis or the Allies. Home life became very difficult over those 6 years. Children were evacuated into the countryside, and fathers, husbands, and any male old enough was sent to war. Every day, life was also very complicated. Food was heavily rationed because food couriers would be targeted by the enemy. People had to carry gas masks at all times due to the major risks of gas attacks. Small air raid shelters were put in place to protect the people from bombings as well. Many battles took place during the Second World War, including D-Day at Omaha Beach in Normandy. Amongst the first wave of fighters to land on Omaha Beach was photojournalist Robert Capa, who was there photographing for Life magazine. Capa shot with 2 Contax cameras. He'd done this so he didn't have to stop moving to look down the camera and get himself to safety quick. He shot around 106 images, however, after a mistake in the darkroom, only 11 came out. These 11 images are some of Capa's most iconic works and is often known as the Magnificent 11. Some of these images are the most harrowing documents of war ever recorded. The motion blur in them captures how fast and dangerous the war was, and how quickly the troops in Capa had to get to cover. The harsh black and white contrast mixing with smoke provided a ghostly horizon line, almost a visual representation of them running to light at the end of the tunnel. Capa captured terrified but brave men under heavy fire in the deadliest battle of this war. Another influential photojournalist to document the war was Margaret Bourke. She was the first female photographer allowed in conflict zones and the first woman to fly with US combat crew ever. Her images show us how intense life in the US Air Force really was. It gave us an insight into the site of the war from their perspective. Although you do not see any physical violence in her images, this one really shows how dangerous and scary being a pilot in the war was. It's definitely one of my favourites of Margaret Bourke. It really shows the horrors of war from a pilot's perspective. You can tell that it's a plane crashing down into the countryside, and it's going to be a horrific death. It's nothing too, respectful about it, and that's generally what life was like for pilots. Another thing you see from these images is the amount of planning and preparation that pilots had to go through before they even started a mission. By the looks of these images, it was so intense, it was so constant, always happening night and day.